Hey guys, BrettAlegrewood, author of the best-selling book, The 3+1 Plan, and chairman at WPC Group, where we help you to build a thriving property portfolio without the usual hassles or day-to-day worries or having to take on a second job. What I wanted to do today was really get you up to date with where the London and UK marketplaces are, because things are changing and things are actually looking a lot better than they were. My first video I did in 2009, and really what that was about saying, right, prices have come off, statistically 17.2%, but the reality in most areas it was a lot less. In London it was a lot better than that. And really what that was about in 2009 was saying, look, the market's back, now's the time to get in, now's the time to actually be what we call a smart investor, to get in before the institutions do. They were in at about 2011, and what we're finding now is in 2013, Q3 2013, realistically, we're starting to see capital growth coming back. Not so much in the UK stuff yet, but certainly in London. London is definitely bedded down, okay? And what I wanted to do was really talk today about the opportunities that you have right in front of you right now with UK, whether you're a UK resident or whether you're investing from overseas. Because the reality is the UK is opening up now, and it's really a place to jump and invest, because there's a lot of certainty coming back into the market. When I talked in 2009, I talked about how the fear and the uncertainty was there, and that was actually the motivation for getting in, okay? But 2011 was much more about, right, we've got a level playing field, we've got a good base to build from now, get in now, prices are very cheap, you can negotiate on those prices, and let's move forward doing that. And for those of you that got in, fantastic. 2013, it's now the age where, certainly in London, developers are starting to be, well, not starting to, they are extremely confident about their prices. They're raising prices regularly, and so prices are actually continuing to go up, all right? So this video is all about opportunity, and what are the opportunities over the next 3 to 5 years. What should you be looking at? Not so much the areas, I'm not going to go into specific areas today, but just to give you a broad strokes view. If you want to know the specific areas, then you can come in and meet with us, come to my seminars, watch further videos, and I'll give more specific areas and suggestions and things like that. But look, so let's get started. And what we're going to talk about really, is about capital growth is back, and that's great, okay? It's all good, people running around saying 35% discount and, all this sort of stuff, and oh, get in now. The reality is what we all love as property investors is these two words. We want to know we buy something today and it goes up in value, and somebody else in the future or, at some point is willing to pay more than we paid for it. And at the end of the day, forget discounts and forget all that rubbish and garbage. Actually, the big thing is you want people to buy your property, or to a valuer to revalue your property, or a bank to revalue your property at a higher value, okay? That's the key to property investment. And that is happening now, and it is happening with a level of certainty, okay? Not in all areas, by no means. So don't misquote me and think that I'm saying the whole of the UK is doing that now. It's not. We'll talk about my predictions anyway. Right, London, look, confidence is back, and in fact, if anything, London has overconfidence right now. And I'm not saying that the prices won't continue to grow, they will, okay? What I'm saying is there's a lot of confidence. The government programs, the right to buy, and all these schemes that they've brought out are starting to really get the wheels turning. Now, the interesting thing is, I did a video back in 2009 talking about how the government should be doing this, okay? And the reality is they didn't do anything until 2012 when they finally announced something, sorry, 2013 when they finally announced something. And lo and behold, already it started to kick off. Now, the next tranche of that comes in January. And I think that will be the real turning point for not only the UK, not only London, but for the rest of the UK. So confidence is back. We've still got the weak pound, and the weak pound, I think, certainly for you investors outside of the UK. Investors inside the UK probably makes no difference really. But outside, you've got the weak pound. That's going to stay whilst the economy is still not quite doing really well. So that'll be one of the key factors for seeing the pound get stronger, is the economy getting stronger. But the big difference and the big thing is when interest rates go up. Now, my prediction on interest rates, really, they're at base rate 0.5%. I think they're likely to go to about 2%, and then I reckon they'll stay there for quite some time. And I think that 2% raise won't be in the next 2 years. I think 2 years it'll be, around about, depending on what happens with the economy. If property prices keep going the way they do, like in London, and they pick up in the UK, well, maybe sooner. But the reality is the government and the Bank of England are going to want to see good recovery before they start raising interest rates, and therefore the weak pound getting stronger, which means that some of the international investors not be shut out, it'll become too expensive for them, and there'll be other areas which provide a better opportunity, okay? Lack of supply, massive lack of supply. We simply have not been building enough, really since I was in the UK since 2002. Never have we built enough property. And that is now really, really showing itself. At the height of the recession, it meant that actually, we could get away with not building as many because there wasn't any demand. But the reality is that is now showing its ugly head, and it is an ugly head. And the reality is, I'll talk about, one of the things that we can do and you can do watching this film to help out this problem, okay? Now, what this problem has meant is that there's lots of off-plan from bigger developers, few from medium developers, virtually nothing from smaller developers. They just can't get the finance. They can't go to the bank to get the finance to build, all right? And some of the smaller developers have bought land and it's too expensive, prices have come down. So the reality is they're stuck, they're sitting on it. So we're not building enough. Now what that means is everything's getting sold off plan so that the developer has certainty and so the developer can get funding, but what it means is there's no stock. So if you want to buy something to rent out straight away, you've got to go to the second-hand market. You can't go to the new build market, all right? Which is not a problem, we'll talk about that in a sec. Hotspots. Look, when you're talking about London, okay, in particular, we've got the key hotspots that I talk about, and there's two types of them, the regeneration and the prime areas, okay? And the prime areas have been going up considerably. They've started to ease off a bit, okay? But the regeneration areas now are really starting to sink in and grab their claws into the capital growth, and you're seeing some good returns on those. And that is going to continue. The prime areas will slow down, they'll continue to grow. They'll always be a good investment, a good bet. But the reality is that regeneration areas, that's the key places to look for right now. Okay, so that's sort of the London summary, if you like. UK, okay, now for probably a good few years I haven't been promoting UK to international investors. I've been saying if it's a local thing, if you can afford London, get into London. If you can't, then you go out to the UK, okay? The reality is what I'm saying now is UK is a fair game. It's open market, so get in there. Now, what I'm saying here is the reality is, look, the local confidence is returning. So everyone I speak to locally, that I know, is saying things are starting to pick up, things are looking better. There's still a lot of stock. It's not that the capital, prices are growing dramatically or anything like that, but the confidence is starting to return. And that's when we want to jump in because the prices haven't taken off yet. They will, all right? And a lot of it is in anticipation of these government programs that are coming out. They're going to help things out. Now, what I'm suggesting is focus on your 13 university towns, excluding Liverpool. I'm not a fan of Liverpool. I don't recommend ever investing there, okay? And maybe one day I'll turn around, but the reality is the 13 largest university towns minus Liverpool. Stick to your city centres if you don't know the places. If you stick to the city centres, what you're going to find is they have the best fundamentals. They're likely to grow first, okay? So you'll see the capital growth there first because they have the best fundamentals. If you're not going to go city centres, then try to go houses, okay? And houses out of town or in good areas, all right? Only investing in good areas at this stage because you want those fundamentals. Don't think because something is cheap that you should be buying it. You shouldn't, okay? Cheap is never a reason for buying. Look at so many people in Detroit that have bought cheap and are just having all sorts of problems because why? The type of tenants and the fact there's an oversupply of property. Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. So that's sort of the UK. Good things, and you're going to continue to hear good things about it. But what you want to focus on is the good yields, and you want to negotiate the price, okay? So whatever the price is, negotiate it, still negotiate it. Slightly different. With London, you're not going to negotiate price, all right? Now, I reckon, and this is my prediction, by 2017, the UK economy and the property market will be given the all clear. It'll be like, right, that recession, which was a decade long, is my prediction, okay, is done and dusted, gone. Now for London it was a lot shorter, but the reality is I think there's still a sting in the tail, that's going around. But now's the time to be looking and getting those bargains because if you can get them, fantastic. You're really gonna, benefit from that once we come out and the slow grow out. Okay, so let's talk generally because what I want to do, and normally, I'm one of these guys in property that I talk about everything and I say you can make money anyway, all right? But what I tend to do is I tend to focus on a strategy and work that strategy when it's the best time to work it, and I change the strategy to meet the market. What I'm saying now and what I'm presenting to you as an opening remarks, and I'm not saying do this, don't do this. What I'm saying is start to expand your thinking, all right? So expand your thinking from new build stuff, you know, where you're buying off plan and that sort of thing, and start looking maybe at the second-hand market and seeing the deals there. And, you know, and I'm not saying at the exclusion of this or the exclusion of these other things. The other side of it is look beyond London, because actually some of the London stuff right now, we find the prices, I think, are getting up there where, you know, I sort of get a bit uneasy about buying it. So I actually think, and I think the problem is not that you're not going to make money, but it's more that you're probably buying at a 2 or 3 or 4 year time price, all right? Which kind of goes against, you know, one of my, you know, 2 laws of buy-to-let investing. Buy below value and buy something with good solid fundamentals, all right? Now, look out to the UK. Start looking around the UK. It is a fantastic market, the UK. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. You know, you've got free. You can sell to anyone. You can buy from anyone. You can, you know, the tax is very transparent and simple. The ownership is very simple. The law is very good. The politics is very good. It all works very well. Look beyond ownership. And what I'm talking about here is normally we talk about direct ownership. You buy a property, you know, you buy it off plan, or maybe you flip it, but you own it, okay? And that's the whole point. What I'm saying now is actually there's a lot of opportunity because these developers can't get finance, okay, in actually helping them out by funding and providing effectively peer-to-peer or development finance, or some people call it peer-to-business, development finance to those things. There's some opportunities coming out. Be careful with it. It's not as simple as just putting money in the bank and yes, they'll promise you all sorts of things. But the reality is there is opportunities out there, and start to be open to them. And that's what I'm saying here. Be open to this stuff. Why? Because this can make you some good money, which can then feed back into here and back into here, okay? And that's the key here, is how do we best use or utilize our capital, okay, that we've got. And that's what we're aiming for. All right. Let's have a look at my predictions. And really the predictions are, you know, London, I think 6 to 10% growth. You know, it's really betting down. And certainly with this lack of supply, yeah, I think it's going to continue. And I think, you know, you've really got that. There's going to be little negotiation, you know, and even we are finding it difficult to negotiate prices. You know, the reality is developers are selling everything off plan, done and dusted, okay? So there's little negotiation. Focus on capital growth, because that's what you're going to get. This is where you're going to make your money now. That's good news as investors. We're coming through this horrible recession. You know, there's been a really, to a degree, a decade long, well, not quite so much in London, but certainly, you know, bad. 2 to 3 bedrooms offer value. And what I'm saying here, normally we'd say 1 and 2 bedrooms, great. The reality is developers are selling out 1 bedrooms like that, okay? Everybody wants to buy 1 bed. So what I'm saying now is actually, if you look at the 2 and 3 bedrooms, there's some little negotiation there, and there's some ability to move on those things. So you can actually work out and get a good deal on these sort of things, okay? So be open to that. I'm not saying exclude it. I'm not saying don't buy 1 bed. What I'm saying is be open to the expanded, you know, possibilities. UK, green shoots of recovery, okay? And that's already happening now. Look for the developer finance. I'm predicting 2017, all clear, all over, and we'll move on. So guys, that's just a brief introduction of where the market is, you know. And look, I've got some other further videos I'm going to be bringing out in the next week or so that are specifically about these areas and talking more detail and statistics and why I think. But this is sort of just the general introduction. It's almost like that, hey guys, wake up, property investment's back. You know, that's what this video is about. And I guess, look, the motivation for me doing these is really, you know, chairman of WPC Group, what we do is we help you build a thriving portfolio. And what I want to do is introduce that to you, okay? So if you're out there, you're wondering how to take the first step, how to get involved, we can help you, okay? And the whole idea of what we do is we build a really good level of trust, okay? You're not going to find us pitching thousands of properties to you and just trying to sell you everything under the sun. It's going to be very focused. You know, it's going to be very one-on-one, okay? Working with people, working with my team. A lot of my team have been with me 5, 6, 7, 8 years. We've been going 9 years as a business. You know, we've survived the recession, and you know, so it's a very different type of thing. We've got almost 50 staff, I think it is now, and the reality is we manage 1,000 properties. So we're very competent at what we do when it comes to London and UK property. Now, specifically what we do is the aim is that we'll do everything for you. We source the property, okay? We provide an 89-point due diligence checklist, which gives you the starting blocks so you can then go and do your own research. You can second guess our research, okay? We'll then manage the entire process. So we'll go everything, okay, from carpets, flooring, curtains, furniture, renting the property, managing the property. If we have to kick the tenants out, we'll look after that, pay ground rent, service charges on your behalf, everything, okay? The whole idea is that we do it all for you, all right? In addition to that, we do the portfolio management, which is about sitting down with someone like myself or one of the other guys in the team that is a portfolio manager and looking at how we take the market and we take your individual circumstances, we come up with a strategy and we start working that strategy, okay? Far too often I see people, shotgun approach. This deal, that deal, and what they do is they deal hunt and they end up with this mishmash, portfolio that really they don't have any control over. They don't know what the rules of the game that apply to that. So what I want to do is offer you the ability to come and work with us, sit down, map out a plan, get to know us. You don't have to jump on property straight away. The key is that now is the time. Capital growth is back, as I mentioned, and now's the time to be getting into the market if you're sitting on the fence line. If you've got an existing portfolio, chat to us. We'll look at that, we'll see what we can do with that, all right? Now guys, I want to encourage you, complete the box, fill out, go onto our website, check us out, come to one of my seminars, do whatever you need to do, but now's the time to start getting back into property, and now's the time, if you haven't been in property, to start doing your research and start dipping your toe in and getting used to the market, getting to know the market. Okay guys, have a fantastic day, and remember, live with passion.